Today on the show, we're diving into the world of economic indicators. These are the numbers that tell us how the economy is doing. Things like GDP, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence. But what do these indicators really mean? How are they calculated? And how should we interpret them? We'll break it all down for you with the help of some experts to make sense of the numbers that shape our world. Welcome to Magnificent Feed, where global truths are unwrapped and the pulse of geopolitics beats louder than ever. Subscribe and stay informed, because what you're about to hear could define the future of the Middle East and possibly reshape the global order. This is not just another report. This is the unfolding of a potential war that could drag the entire world into the vortex of destruction or force humanity into a new era of diplomacy and understanding. Iran and Israel, two nations that have stood on opposite ends of ideological and military warfare for decades. But today, as we speak, the world edges closer to a tipping point. The drums of war are no longer distant echoes. They beat louder, closer, and more intense than ever before. What changed? Why is Iran, once seen as a struggling nation under sanctions, now being whispered about as the most powerful regional actor in the Middle East? Let us go back, way back. The roots of this tension lie in a complex web of ideology, religion, politics, and power. Ever since the Islamic Revolution in 1979, Iran positioned itself as the ideological enemy of Israel. While Israel emerged as a technological and military powerhouse backed by Western support, particularly the United States, Iran took a different path, a path of resistance, of alliances, of underground developments, and now that path might have reached its final chapter. Iran, despite years of crippling sanctions, military isolation, and covert sabotage, has done the unthinkable. It has survived, grown, and evolved. The Revolutionary Guards have become more than just a military entity. They are now a shadow government, a network of influence that spans Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and even into parts of Africa. Through proxy groups like Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the Popular Mobilization Forces, Iran has created what many now call the axis of resistance. But here's where things get more dangerous. Iran is no longer relying just on proxies. It has begun revealing its own strength. In the shadows of the world's distractions, Iran has developed a missile arsenal so vast, so precise, and so deadly that it now boasts one of the most formidable ballistic missile programs outside of NATO. These are not just deterrents. These are offensive tools. Tools capable of striking Israeli cities, military bases, and possibly even nuclear facilities with devastating precision. And while the world remained focused on Russia, Ukraine, and tensions in Asia, Iran quietly entered a new phase. A phase of nuclear threshold capabilities. While the West tried to negotiate deals to limit uranium enrichment, Iran took a calculated path. It expanded. Today, it is believed to have enriched uranium far beyond the limits set by previous agreements. Intelligence communities from Tel Aviv to Washington now assess that Iran could be weeks, not months or years, away from building a nuclear weapon if it chooses to do so. Israel, of course, sees this as an existential threat. The Jewish state, forged in the ashes of the Holocaust, cannot afford even the shadow of nuclear annihilation, and thus the policy has always been clear. Israel will not allow Iran to obtain nuclear weapons. This doctrine, known as the Begin Doctrine, has already been used in the past. Israel bombed Iraq's Osirak reactor in 1981. It struck Syria's Al-Kibar nuclear facility in 2007. And now the question is, when and how will it strike Iran? The difference this time, however, is monumental. Iran is not Iraq. It is not Syria. Iran is massive, highly fortified, and militarily prepared. Its nuclear facilities are buried deep underground in mountainous regions, protected by air defenses and layered security. A strike on Iran would not be surgical. It would be a declaration of total war. And that's not all. Iran's response would be massive, swift, and multidimensional. Hezbollah in Lebanon could launch thousands of rockets into Israeli territory within hours. Syria could erupt. The Houthis in Yemen could block maritime routes. Iraq's militias could attack American bases. And inside Israel itself, civil unrest among Arab citizens could paralyze internal stability. This would not be a limited war. This would be a regional inferno. But what has shocked analysts even more is Iran's recent advancements in drone and cyber capabilities. Iranian drones, such as the Shahed series, have now proven their capabilities in real war zones. From Syria to Ukraine, these are not toys. These are weapons of war. Swarms of loitering munitions capable of penetrating Israeli defenses, disabling radar systems, and targeting strategic assets. And in the digital domain, Iranian hackers have breached systems in the US, Israel, and beyond. Critical infrastructure, water, supplies, power grids, and communication networks are vulnerable. Iran has also mastered the art of strategic patience. Unlike other powers that rush into battle, Tehran has played the long game. Every year, every confrontation, every assassination, every sanction, it absorbed them all and returned stronger. When Qasem Soleimani was assassinated, many predicted collapse. Instead, Iran reorganized, restructured, and retaliated with more. Aggression across all fronts. Now in 2025, a different Iran stands on the global stage. No longer isolated. Thanks to shifting geopolitical alliances, Iran now enjoys closer ties with China and Russia. These alliances may not translate to direct military support, but they provide economic lifelines and political cover in international forums. When Iran was recently threatened with further sanctions, Beijing stepped in to ease the blow. When Washington called for condemnation, Moscow vetoed resolutions. This is not the Iran of the past. This is a global player with leverage, and this leverage is being felt. In recent months, Israeli strikes in Syria have increased, so have Iranian retaliations. Ships have been targeted in the Red Sea. Covert operations in European capitals have escalated. Israeli embassies across the world have gone into emergency lockdowns. Tensions are not just rising, they are boiling. So what happens now? The most likely spark could come from miscalculation. A drone crosses into Israeli airspace. An Israeli strike kills an Iranian general. A cyber attack knocks out critical systems. These small events, under normal circumstances, could be managed. But not today. Today, every move is a gamble. A step too far could light the fuse. In Tehran, the leadership remains confident. The supreme leader has declared multiple times that Iran is ready for all scenarios. The military has conducted large-scale drills simulating attacks on Israeli targets. Underground bunkers are operational. Civil defense protocols are in place. Iran is not just preparing, it is expecting. And on the Israeli side, the mood is one of grim determination. The Israeli defense forces have updated their strike plans. The Mossad is operating at maximum capacity. Public awareness campaigns are warning of prolonged war. For the first time in decades, Israel faces the real possibility of full-scale war on multiple fronts. Not just Gaza, not just Lebanon, but Iran, the core, the command, the architect. But here lies the dangerous paradox. Both sides believe they can win. Iran believes its strength, resilience, and regional network will overwhelm Israel. Israel believes its technological edge, intelligence superiority, and Western backing will neutralize Iran. But in war, belief is not enough. When missiles fly, when cities burn, when civilians die, no one wins. The international community, for all its power, seems paralyzed. The United States, once the undisputed enforcer of peace, is torn by internal divisions and global commitments elsewhere. Europe is fractured. The United Nations is ineffective, and the Arab world, though historically hostile to Israel, is now divided. Some Gulf states want to normalize ties with Israel, fearing Iran's growing dominance. Others remain silent, watching from the sidelines. This new alignment has shifted the battlefield. Iran now sees itself not just as a military power, but as the ideological leader of the Muslim world, challenging the status quo, confronting Zionism, and resisting Western hegemony. This identity fuels its ambition, its courage, and its willingness to absorb pain in pursuit of long-term victory, but the cost could be unimaginable. Experts predict that a war between Iran and Israel could cause tens of thousands of deaths in the first few weeks alone. Oil prices would skyrocket. Global supply chains would be shattered. Religious tensions could erupt in cities across the globe. Terrorist attacks could rise. No nation would be immune. And nuclear facilities, if hit, could release radiation that poisons regions for decades. And yet, in the midst of this darkness, there remains a glimmer of hope. Diplomacy, though weakened, is not dead. Secret talks continue. Back-channel messages are exchanged. Some officials on both sides still believe that the cost of war is too high. That dialogue, however bitter, is better than destruction. That children in Tehran and Tel Aviv deserve a future without fear. But that window is closing. Every missile test, every assassination, every provocative speech slams that window shut. And once closed, it may never open again. This is not fiction. This is the world we live in. And today, in 2001, to 25, Iran may indeed be the most powerful it has ever been. Economically hardened, militarily sharpened, strategically emboldened. And yet power does not guarantee safety. Just as Israel